Welcome to ICE Talks. I inspire, challenge, and empower. Our ICE topic is Form 1 orientation. The Form 1s, when they join school, we always tell them they are here for a reason and for a season. But in most cases, we don't tell them the reason why they're in school. And I believe we should be specific. Let us tell the Form 1s they're in school to study. They're in school to learn. That is the main business of being in school. They are in school to gain knowledge and skills. Some of these Form 1s do not know English is an important subject, such that when they go to the university, nobody will teach them English. So if they speak poor English in high school, they're likely to speak poor English forever. And they need to understand they're in school to build their future, because the future does not start tomorrow. The future starts today. So instead of saying, oh, in the future I'll do, and that's why you find a Form 1 begins the journey. Today is a doctor, tomorrow in Form 2 he becomes a nurse, in Form 3 he's a patient, then in Form 4 he's in ICU. So these Form 1s must be ready to learn. They must understand why they're in school. They must know what next after high school. Am I going to the university? Which course am I going to do? And it's very important, because these Form 1s, if you ask them, or any high school student may not tell you which university wants to join, but if you ask them how many children they want, they already know they want 3 or 4 children. So they need to know what they want in life. What kind of a car do they want to drive? What kind of a house do they want to live in? They need to define these things. But the biggest challenge you have is many students look at their background and they look at what their parents have achieved, and they feel, if my parent doesn't have a car, how can I have one? If my parent doesn't have a big house, how can I have one? But don't let your background limit you. Instead, you should be thinking higher and higher. When I was telling my mother that one day I want to drive a Prado, she didn't have one, and she doesn't have one. But I didn't look at myself according to what she has achieved, but I said I want something better. So look at where you come from, and don't base your dreams on what others have achieved. So again, we must tell the Form 1 the keys to success, the discipline, because I believe in discipline is a wide highway towards failure. These Form 1s must understand they must be self-driven, because they must learn to do things without being pushed. The teacher should not police them in school. The teacher should not police them everywhere. And they should not be these people who are just rushing for meals. They just know how to go out for meals, but coming back to class they have to be pushed. And they get confused. Sometimes the bell rings and they don't know where they're going to. Time consciousness, they must utilize their time very well, because every minute counts. When it comes to, they must be serious students. They must eat seriously. They must, when they are studying, they must study seriously. And then they sleep, they should also sleep seriously, like 5 to 7 hours. And by sleeping seriously, I mean, this Form 1 should sleep when they go to sleep, it should be just sleeping, not going to the dormitory and starting making stories ambazo like ng'ombe ya so and so ilikufa, unajua mwalimu so and so hakuja shule, kina nani sijui alifanya nini. And so these Form 1s must have a vision. They must understand things to do with notes writing, not whereby you have a Form 1 mixing notes. Notes za chemistry kwa kitabu ya biology nyuma, notes za physics kwa kitabu ya Kiswahili katikati. And these notes are never transferred to the book. In fact, there are Form 4s in school right now ambao kuna assignment wajeifanya than Form 1, and they'll never do it. So why don't you talk to these Form 1s very early? And I have interacted with many schools. There are national schools, we have extra county schools, we have county schools, and we have sub-county schools. Each of these schools has a challenge. For example, national schools, you'll find students with a lot of pride, thinking because I'm in a national school, it's automatic I'm going to pass my exams. But success is not automatic. What matters is what you're doing in the school. Actually, the school doesn't matter, but what you're doing in that school. There are students who go to extra county schools, but their dream was to go to a national school. So that implies that these students, some of them feel discouraged, because they think, I wish I had gone to Alliance. And I ask myself, if they went to a national school, wangefanywa brain surgery, watolewe akili walikuwa naye, waweke yenye nasoma kwa national school ndio wapate A. But that doesn't happen. When you go to the other category, county and sub-county schools, there's a big problem. These students are struggling with language. You find a student is in Form 1 or is in Form 4 and cannot spell the word failure, they cannot spell the word discipline, they are struggling in spelling. Yet, if you analyze the results of the big schools, you realize that they do well in languages, and they also do well in sciences. The performance in national schools, extra-county schools is different from sub-county schools because of the languages and sciences, especially maths. If you go to the big schools, you find the mean score of English is very high, the mean score of mathematics is very high. But you go to a day school or a mixed school, you realize that they have performed well in the other subjects, but the mean score of English is around 3, 4, and the mean score of mathematics is 2 or 1. So county schools and sub-county schools are suffering because of the 100% transition. So what should they do? The language department should do their work. They should come up with programs to let these students learn more English, because if they write poor notes in English, then they transfer these mistakes to the exams, then they are likely going to fail. And the goal of education is not failing, it's about teaching students. So these students must realize the problems they are dealing with, and the national schools should also prepare these students to score very well in the KCSE. And that's why Mandela says you find a student is in a day school and has scored an A, and a day school in a big school, in a national school, scores a C, and we say this student in a national school has scored a very expensive C because he's paying a lot of school fee to score a C. He or she would rather have gone to a day school. So we need to talk to Form 1s very early so that they are prepared for the academic journey. And we say academic success is a journey that has a starting point, that is knowing yourself, what you want in life, knowing your attitude, and also learning how to track your performance. Then this journey must be planned for. You must have a plan how you're going to emerge successful. This journey has a destination target. What do you want to score in the KCSE? How do you begin a journey without a target? Then this journey has obstacles. Like we have technology, the biggest obstacle right now. Most of the students are spending a lot of time on social media instead of reading. So we have another obstacle, it's persistent noise making. We have laziness. We have many obstacles that are challenging students. So we need to talk to the Form 1s. They need to know they have a future, and they need to know the future lies in their hands. Thank you.